Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In the last video, we learned about exception handling. We learned how try except and its variants work. We learned how to catch exception and raise our custom exceptions. Today, we are going to start with OOPS important concept, which is classes and objects. I highly recommend watching this on a big screen and coding along with me. That's the best way to learn. If you get stuck anywhere, feel free to drop your questions in the comments or email me at saket.saketlabs@gmail.com. I'd love to help. And before we jump in, if you are enjoying this Python series, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on the future lessons. It really helps the channel grow and keeps me motivated to create more awesome tutorials for you. Alright, let's get started. So let's start this video by understanding what a class is. Based on the definition, a class is a blueprint or a template that groups attributes and functions into a single unit. Basically what it means is a class is a group of both variables as well as methods into a single unit, which is called class. So I have a simple class here, which is of dog, class dog. So this class consists of attributes which are name and breed, and also methods associated with it. As you can see here, we have a method called init, which initializes the values of name and breed, and a method called bark, so which would just print the name of the dog and says oof. Let us try to implement a class called student to understand this better. So to implement a class, we use class keyword along with the name of the class. Currently the name of the class is student. So student has name. I'll initialize it with empty string. Age, which is also currently I'll initialize with an empty string as well as roll number and grades. This is just an example. You can have as many attributes as you want. So to make this example simple, I'll just use only the 4 attributes. Along these 4 attributes, I'll have few methods as well, which will operate on these attributes. So to initialize these variables, we have a method called init. So what this method basically does is, whenever you create an object of this student class, this init method will get executed. We'll see that soon. So here I'm going to initialize the variables. I'll assign the name to value Saket, age as 26, roll number as 15, and grade as A. So to access these elements, to access an element of attributes of a class, we use self meaning this whole class. So to modify the attributes of this, what we have to do is we have to pass a self here, and we try to modify self.name equal to Saket. When we do this, what happens is, when we do self.name equal to Saket, the attribute that belongs to class student will get initialized. So similarly, I'll do self.age, self.roll number, and self.grade. So whenever we use self.something, which means we'll be manipulating the attributes that belongs to the student class. This self represents student class. So this init method, we use it to initialize a class. So, and we will have few more methods. The default method is init method, which we'll be using to initialize the class, and we can have as many methods as we want. So I'm going to initialize a method called add grade. So what this basically does is, it accepts the grade and sets grade, self.grade equal to grade. As you can see here, since we are manipulating the grade inside the student class, we also have to pass self here. So you can assume that all the methods that we define inside a class will have a first argument called self, meaning self has the whole class as the methods and attributes of the whole class. For example, if you can see here, if you do self dot something, you can see here there is a method called add grade, which is this age grade. Whenever you pass a self, you basically are passing all the attributes and the methods as a argument inside it. So this is how we initialize the grade, and we'll create one more method, print grade, which basically just prints the grade of the student. Self dot name is self dot grade. So let's just define only these two methods here. Now let us see what objects are. So if we have to create a copy of this group, we call it as object. So the formal definition of object is a physical instance of a class. It is an instance of a class containing actual values for its attributes. For example, if I want to create an object of class student, what I do is student1 equal to student. When I create to create an object of a student, we just have to invoke that class. That's it. To access the attributes and methods of the class, we do it like this. To print a name of the student1 object, what we do is student1 dot name. Similarly, if we want to print the other attributes of student1 object, we can do it like this. Roll number, and then grade. Let me now execute this. As you can see here, we got name as Saket, age 26, roll number 15, and grade A, which is as same as what we have initialized. Instead of defining the values of these attributes inside the class itself, we can pass it as a parameters to init method. Let us try to modify this student class to do the same. So we'll accept name, age, roll number, and grade as parameter for student class. And instead of hard coding the values, what we can do is we can assign the self.name to the parameter argument that we access from the init method. Similarly, I do the same for the other attributes as well. Now, while creating the object, we also have to pass name, age, roll number, and grade. So name would be Saket Labs, age 26, roll number 15, and grade A+. Now, if I try to print the name, age, roll number, and grade, you can see these values. As you can see here, the values that we passed as an argument while creating the object of a student class has been reflected when we try to print the instance. So to summarize everything that we learned so far, classes is a blueprint or a template that is used to create objects. So classes has attributes and methods associated with it. An object represents an instance of a class. So why do we use classes and objects? Classes and objects are used to organize code logically, promote reusability. For instance, we want to create another student. What we can do? We can just invoke the same student class, create an object of the student class with a different name. Here you can see I've created another student using the same student class. So this is how we promote reusability using class. We can model real world entities. Just like dogs and students, we can implement classes which portrays real world entities. And this can also, classes and objects are also used for maintenance and scalability.